Hello and welcome to chemistry. My name is Mr. Olasek, but because no one can pronounce that because it's got this goofy Z in it, we just go with Mr. O. And I look like this. Well, kinda, sorta, but not really. More like this. And I like to play bass and ride my motorcycle. And I like to hang out with my cat, Coda, who, as you can see, is very large. He's also very stupid, but very sweet. But none of that is really important. What is important is that we are beginning our journey into chemistry, which is the study of matter, what we call stuff. And speaking of stuff, there are some things you will need in this class. The first thing that you will need is your brain. Please have your brain with you at all times. Be sure to turn it on before you walk in the classroom. Make sure that you use it before you ask a question. Make sure that you use it in lab before you do something that you might not be sure how to do. This is a powerful tool. Use it. The second thing that you will need is your calculator, which is this thing right here. This is an important tool that you will need to survive. I do not lend these out. Even though I have several spares, you'll find that getting me to lend one to you is darn near impossible. I recommend acquiring this fancy online one that works just like a real one with buttons and everything. And I can show you how to get this, but I don't allow using this one on tests or quizzes. So my advice to you is to have a real one at your disposal. Make sure that it is charged or that it has fresh batteries, because I often don't have those on hand. Okay? Last thing that you need, these are called goggles. They are very important because this is a chemistry class where we study stuff, and that means doing a lot of labs and a lot of reactions that involve some dangerous substances. We don't want to get any of this stuff anywhere it's not supposed to be. So goggles are required during all labs unless I specifically tell you otherwise, and I will tell you where to look to find that information. If it turns out that you show up to a class on lab day when goggles were specified and you don't have any, I will be happy to rent you some. The rent is $5 per day. This is non-refundable, and this money goes to feed my starving children. So you being a putz and not bringing your goggles actually benefits some people who are less fortunate than you. Okay, the last thing is my syllabus. You'll find this in a section on OneNote entitled Course Materials. You can read through this if you want, But the one part that I want to draw your attention to is this part. This is my homework policy. And it states very clearly that homework assignments should be turned in on the day that they are due. They are either collected for a grade or gone over in class. Pretty much we go over them in class every day. And I will make sure that you have access to the answer keys and a walkthrough of every problem that I assign. So even if you're not here in class to ask me how to do it, I will be sure that I have given you access to a walkthrough that shows you exactly how each problem is done. This is probably the most important part. Late homework is not accepted. That means unless you have a valid excuse, a doctor's note, you were abducted by aliens, I don't accept any homework that is turned in after the due date. That's up to you to decide if you want to do it or not. Again, I will make sure that you have access to all the materials that you need. All right, let me point out one more important bit here. That's this guy right here. So I'm one of those teachers that uses a weighted system. Of this weighted system, that means that different categories count higher. Your homework is 20% of your grade, and I assign homework just about every night, even though it's only 4 or 5 problems. So there's not a lot of it each night, but it adds up, and I promise you that if you are at least trying on the homework, that 20%, I guarantee you, will save your butt. So even if you're having a hard time understanding it, give it a shot because it adds up. All right, well, that's that. I've given you all the details of the stuff you need to know and where you can look to find it. You can contact me anytime. And I know this year is going to be weird for everybody, but we'll get through it together. All right? Let's follow these little directions because we want to make Mr. O happy teacher. We do not want to make Mr. O grumpy teacher. Happy Mr. O, good. Grumpy Mr. O, bad. All right? So, welcome aboard everybody, and see you on the first session.